Welcome to Soltron. This is the video review for Mecard Ball Petankranz. Here's the size comparison. And here's a look at his box. It's not really anything special. And then kind of the same thing for his directions. It's just basically black and white. All right, and here's a 360 look at his robot mode. And this was the figure that I was actually most excited to get. This is the whole reason I bought the Mecard Ball figures. I always wanted the Griffinks, but I kind of missed the boat on that guy. So I thought this guy would be a good substitute. Overall, I would say his robot mode is pretty good looking. It's got a couple wonky or awkward looking spots. So he's probably like an 8. As far as aesthetics go, I think his proportions are pretty good, but up to his chest is where things start getting a little bit weird. Like this would normally be like a little plastic car that goes in here, and it would just be like sticking out of his chest. So it makes him look a lot blockier. And then just this like squared off top of the shoulders is not very good looking. And then this like blocky head kind of doesn't work that well together. And if we get a look at his head, it's kind of hard to see it. It's got kind of like a scorpion or Scorponok kind of motif for like Beast Wars Scorponok. It kind of reminds me of. So it's an interesting head sculpt, and at least it's not flat. And even though it has a panel on the back, because it flips out, it's still got the 360 articulation, which is nice. And then he does come with some cool accessories. So this guy actually comes with better accessories than the other two robots I reviewed. So he comes with, first off, this scorpion tail that turns into a scythe or a sickle that he holds in his hand. So that's pretty cool. He's got like good weapon implementation. And then he's got this kind of shield sphere launcher thing that attaches to his forearm, and it pegs onto the wheels, so it's very loose, unfortunately. And then it sticks out of his arm like way out here, which looks really weird. But if you rotate the arm, it doesn't look as awkward. And then if he's to shoot this, well, he can't really point it forward. You just press down this button, and then the friction will, there's like a little horseshoe shaped clip in there that holds the ball in place. So that's the shield piece. It doesn't really look like a shield. It's kind of too 3D. So it's a little bit of a cheat. And then his wings come off. And I like that his scorpion tail can be put back here for storage too. So if you just want him to have one weapon at a time. He can't have both on at the same time though. The wings get in the way. So you get this cool like wing backpack he's got going on. And if you take a Mecard ball, this has got a couple of little white buttons in there. So when you push this in, it triggers this to turn into a sword. So he can have like a great sword weapon, and that's pretty cool. That's part of the selling point for me. Like, that's one of the things I thought was really thoughtful and made me want to buy this figure. Plus, I like that he had a scythe. But that's a pretty cool accessory. So I like that they work those two in there. But yeah, he's got some interesting aesthetics. And then he does have another gimmick, but I don't have the car that goes with this one. But his shell like opens out in the back here, and then you just push the front of the car. And basically you'd have like a little plastic car that looks like this. And then you just basically push that into his back, and that causes his head to auto transform. But all I have is this cardboard cutout version. So that's kind of a fun little gimmick. And then for articulation, he's got the 360 on the neck, 360 on the shoulder. He's got full outward motion, and then he's got another joint here. That's not really necessary. He's got 360 on the bicep, more than 90 degrees on the elbow, And then he's got like a fist pivot for transformation. So pretty good on the upper body articulation, no waist articulation. And then he does have the standard universal ratchets of the hips that allow him to kick all the way forward, all the way back, and all the way to the side. And then he does have thigh swivel. And he's also got more than 90. So he's got pretty much, what would you call that, 180 on the knee joint. So his knee bends all the way. And then he's got the little toe transformation joint, but kind of not really. Yeah, and then like with the other figures in this line, like these are really well built. These are definitely 10 for quality. They feel very strong. They feel like really great old school robots from back in the day. Yeah, I really just like this guy's aesthetics. I like the purple and the gold and the black. He looks very menacing. He's clearly like a bad guy robot that maybe turns into a good guy at some point. Anyway, because I don't think the Korean shows actually make the villain robots. I don't think that's actually a thing. So to transform him, you're going to get rid of this core robot. And then you rotate the arms up. This is going to become the front of the car. It's catching on something. Okay. And then you fold the fists down. Oh, actually the shoulders are going to go like this. So it's kind of counterintuitive because you want the wheels to be on the bottom of the vehicle. And then you're going to rotate these so that they're up and the painted side is up. And then you fold the fists all the way down, and then this section you want to be angled kind of forward, and then you just clip these two into place like this. So you're going to end up with this, and you got a huge hollow gap in the front of your vehicle. So that's what this chunk is for. So you just put that in place. And that's going to peg in place with a couple of clips. Okay, so now you can see the front end of this vehicle is starting to take shape. You got the wheels and kind of like windows here. You just go ahead and close up this hatch. It's not really going to do anything. And then for the whole back section, you just leave the scorpion tail in here, and you're going to flip the legs or rotate the legs all the way around and into place. And that's going to make up the back side of the vehicle. And then the two legs clip together. It's kind of hard to do it with this in the way, but you can see the clip right there. So you clip those two together, and then they slot into place really nicely. So these are going to be nice and firm. And then you just point the toes down, and then you can plug this back in place. And then the little dragon feet here are going to peg into this slot right here. And a cool thing is this used to be the hips for the robot skirt. So the parts are used really well. And then finally, you're just going to fold up the little scorpion feet. It shows to do it like this, but it kind of makes more sense to just put these up a little bit more so they're more flush. And there you have the vehicle mode, which is pretty good looking. Oh, I actually forgot. You have to put the sword on the back too. So we could just release this ball and put this back in the launcher. And then you open up the wings, and there's a couple clips on the back here that correspond to these. And then you just fold these, and these are going to clip into the dragon legs. And there you have the vehicle mode, which looks appropriately menacing and a little bit insectoid. So it looks pretty cool. And then here he is with the Voyager figure, so you can see he's much larger. And then with the original like Mecard cars, this is how big a regular size car would be compared to this thing. But yeah, this looks very Tim Burton-esque or very gothic. Kind of gives like coffin vampire vibes to it. But yeah, it's a pretty good vehicle. I'd say this vehicle mode is more cohesive than a Consphere, so I would say that this is a pretty fun vehicle mode. Looks kind of like a hearse, maybe. And then it can still shoot the little sphere. It's probably like a, I don't know, like a 7 for vehicle modes. I'm not super impressed with it, but it's pretty good looking. It holds together. And then he does have one other mode, which is really cool. So he's a triple changer. So it's probably best to get the scorpion tail out of the way again, and then we've got to take off the wing pack. And then flip these legs up. And then he does have a little button here which releases his torso from the bottom of his body. And then he does have like another Mecard Ball port right there to store extra pieces. And then the front end, you're just going to fold out these purple parts and then fold this forward, and these are going to become claws, and you're going to unpeg the front end and separate these and just form these into scorpion claws. And then he's got a little head in the bottom of the shield that flips out. And then you're going to, of course, fold down his scorpion legs and then put his tail back in place. And there you get one of his third modes, the scorpion mode, which looks pretty good. I don't know that it looks like a scorpion. It looks more like a lobster or something. It's kind of weird to have that little head up there. And then for his legs, you're going to unpeg these dragon legs and then rotate the waist up. And then you're going to rotate these purple pieces out, and that's going to help you get these dragon heads out of the back of his calves. And then he does have opening and closing dragon mouths. And it's kind of cool. One of the dragons has one horn, the other one has 2 horns. And then you're going to fold up. These are going to become the dragon tails, even though they come off the legs. It's kind of silly. And then you fold the front legs out of the shins of the robot mode. And you can tell, like, and then finally you got to get the wings here. But you can tell that the dragon mode is pretty poorly proportioned. Like, he's just crazy long. He looks more like a dash hound or something. Like, kind of hard to make him look cool with these weird, awkward, long proportions. It's probably the best you can really do. So there you got the scorpion and the dragon, which both of them look pretty good. They're a little basic looking. They're not like Zoids or the kind of aesthetic that I really like, but you could tell they're robotic dragon and a scorpion, so not too bad. And then the articulation, you got like a lot of neck articulation and double joints on the neck here at the head. And then you can still like fold up the dragon wings. They don't really do anything else at this point. And then the tails and the legs, like you saw in the transformation, they have some joints going on. It'd be nice if this collapsed down. Like if this could collapse down here, that would really fix this dragon mode, but his legs just aren't meant to do that. Yeah, if he was just a little bit more complicated and these can telescope down, that would really help with this guy's poor proportions. But anyway, I think these two, they're probably like together, maybe like a 6 as far as aesthetics go. I think the scorpion turned out pretty good, and that helps a little bit. But it's kind of weird to have the legs way in the back instead of the middle too. There's some wonkiness on this guy too, but overall they look pretty good. And then they are a little bit bulkier than Voyager size figures just by themselves so they're each about Voyager size. So yeah, I really like this guy, but I decided after all I'm probably not going to keep any of these figures. So you can look for them on my eBay sales link, and then I'll see you in the next review.